I feel like I created my own resistance because of my self-doubt and my own personal beliefs, limited beliefs about myself was my biggest obstacle. I make one step forward, two back because of fear of failure, fear of being seen, fear of not being seen, doing it right, public perception, all those kinds of things. So it took me a long time to really feel like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I actually know what I'm doing.
Hello, and welcome to the next episode of the Beauty and the Brand podcast. I'm here with Jenepher Reynolds. She's the founder of Jenn of Arch. She's a makeup artist, studio owner, and beauty entrepreneur known for her signature brow work and on-set expertise. She's worked on commercial and TV sets, and she's now launching a proprietary brow tool designed to empower everyday artistry with pro-level precision. So welcome, Jen. I'm so happy to have you on the podcast. Jen is also a graduate of C2C. She's also a two-time graduate of our mastermind. It's such a special treat to have you on here, Jen.
Well, thank you. It's a treat to be asked to be on here. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, so let's get into it. I actually would love to know from the beginning, let's rewind. What's the story of Jenepher as the artist? Like, when did you first realize that beauty was going to be your thing?
I, at a very young age, was obsessed with Vogue magazine. Like, I'm talking 12 years of age. I spent all my babysitting money on Vogue. And when I got a little tired of the American Vogue, I started buying British Vogue, Italian Vogue, German Vogue, Australian Vogue. So all my babysitting money. It didn't matter that some of them I didn't understand the language. It was just obsessed. And something I would also do is I would take the cover of the magazine. And if anybody remembers Vogue magazine way back, the covers used to be just like that, right? It was just that of the model. Whereas now you see a number of people, full body shots, that kind of thing. And I would just scrutinize the cover. And if I didn't like the eyebrows, I would take a pencil and I would erase parts of the brow and fix it.
That is wild. That is unbelievable. I had no idea. After the years that I've known you, how did I not know this story?
And it was amazing that you could do that with just a pencil. You could erase away the print. It was great.
Similarly to you, I absolutely loved print magazines growing up, and Vogue, Glamour being a big one for me. And it's funny, I don't know if I told you a story. I think I might have. I used to make like my own magazines, like my own like catalogs, my own magazines, and I would send them to my friends. And that was my version of your version of, scrubbing away the cover eyebrow.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, so what happened after that? Once you did you go to school then after that for makeup artistry? Talk to me about what was next.
I didn't realize, so it was everything about high-end print fashion magazines that enthralled me. I didn't realize at the time that it was specifically makeup. So if I could describe it, if I could put a magazine in a blender and drink it, that's how immersed I was in it. So once I finished school, I studied fashion design, did that for a little bit, studied graphic design, did that for a little bit. And then it wasn't until some years later that I discovered makeup, and that it was makeup is where I wanted to be and I belonged. And it was because I worked the counter at a department store part-time, Eaton's, when beauty counters were very not inclusive and they were snooty and they looked down on people. And I didn't really like that. And so if people came in and wanted a little bit of help, I would be the first one to try and go over because I wanted to help them. I honestly didn't care about sales. My sales were probably horrific. But it was wanting to help people feel better through looking better, as cheesy as that is.
And which makeup counters did you work at?
I worked at Elizabeth Arden. So then of course, because I worked the counter, I needed to know everything about Elizabeth Arden. So I think there's a book. I can't think of the title. I learned all about Elizabeth Arden on my own because I wanted to know all about her because I was working on it.
Wow. So you went really deep. And I appreciate that. It's having the honor of, or like be treating your work or your job with the utmost of respect and honor, really valuing.
Yeah, like the reasoning behind now being having your own beauty brand. It's like the backstory is so much a part of it. And way back then, we didn't think about it that way. But I think it only helps when you understand the
Of
backstory.
course.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Did you ever, once you started working there, did you have a dream at that point? Oh, what if I started my own product? Or did that come much later?
That came much later. So I worked part time at this counter, and I was at a crossroads in my life where I needed to make a change. I needed to move. I was working 3 jobs, and it was just like, okay, something's got to give here. You're doing so many things. You're not really going anywhere. And so I thought to myself, well, you really love this makeup thing. Why don't you decide to go to Toronto and look into some makeup school? So that's what I did. I went up and I interviewed, like went and chatted with a couple of different schools and made the decision to, it was very quick to move up there and go to makeup school. And I was really lucky because I inadvertently picked the school that I picked had an amazing reputation at the time that I wasn't even totally aware of. People came from Australia, England to attend the school. Yeah. And one of my instructors, he didn't just really like me. He obviously saw something in me because as soon as I finished courses, he took me on as an assistant. And right out of school, I was working on set.
That's amazing. So what was the first set?
It was a Bay commercial. So I don't know in the US if you guys, the Bay, I don't know if it is equivalent to, say, Macy's or something like that. But the Bay, big Canadian department store. And yeah, it was, I think it was for towels. So the model was in the shower and comes out and wraps the towel around.
And then so that led to more commercials, more TV sets.
So Kenny Lee is his name, great guy. He took me on as his assistant. And the thing a lot of people aren't aware of, and it probably still happens today, I just don't live in Toronto anymore, is when you're an assistant, really you're an apprentice. When you apprentice, you are not paid. Having said that, though, the opportunity is phenomenal. You are on set, you're doing the job, and that's potentially what you want to get paid for. So it's second best to that. So I learned so much on set because so many things. You go to school and you study like you did. When you're out in the field doing the work, it's completely different.
And what were some of those things that you, as you got on the field, as you got experience, what were some of those things that started to stand out, like that you were learning, like on the field? Some of the most interesting.
So that commercial specifically, I will never forget this. I wore the wrong shoes. You have to wear shoes that make no sound.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Shoes. So I was told very quickly, don't do that tomorrow.
Oh my gosh. Okay. That's so good to know.
Yeah. And then another thing I did on that exact same show or commercial was I was told by the key makeup artist to go check in the monitor how the model looked. But I went over and I stood right in front of the monitor, kind of like we are in front of our computers. And I happened to stand in front of and blocked the director's line of vision to the monitor. And I didn't even read. And he didn't say a word. He just put his hands on my shoulders and he just moved me. And I just melt to nothing.
I feel that. I can feel that. Wow. It makes total sense. Like whenever you see behind the scenes of shoots, you always see the person like looking on the monitor, but they're always behind the director, the person who's like at the computer.
Yes.
Right. Now that makes total sense. Wow. And that's such a, you would never know and you would never think unless you were in the moment.
No. And unless someone told you. And that's, yeah, learned that very quickly.
And then what about, did you start to pick up on any makeup tricks or makeup? Were there certain, I have so many questions, but were you working on all different ages, all different skin types, or did you start to learn or pick up on certain tips and tricks on while you were doing makeup for?
Like I said, it's so different than school, the lighting, the cameras, everything, the way things are seen is completely different than when someone is right in front of you and you're doing makeup. It's very different than you're prepping the model to be in front of a camera. You're learning how the light, you very quickly learn the model's face, and then you learn when they get put into position and the light hits them and something you did in the makeup room and you realize, oh, okay, that didn't work, or I didn't add enough concealer, or I didn't add enough blush, or that highlight should not be there because the light is bouncing enough on the curve of her skin. She didn't need a highlight, those kind of things.
Fascinating. Okay. And then did you end up, how long would you say did it take for you to create almost your own signature style of work or way that you worked or processed?
I think that took a couple of years because I often say to people that it wasn't until I was not apprenticing any longer and I was the agent, Kenny, who I was assisting, he was with an agency, which is I think to this day, it is a big deal for if you're in makeup and you get an agent to rep you, it saves you a lot of work and it means something about your work if you get. And so his agency took me on. And yeah, and so I was doing some testing with a photographer. I remember the day and working on a model doing a look. And I sent the images in to my agent and he gave me a call and said, Jenepher, this is good work. He was so good and constructive. Like he would, if he saw something, he'd tell you, like you'd really learn from this guy, which I love. Like I am not one, if I teach someone makeup or if I teach a student who wants to do makeup, I'm not one that's just going to praise. I will give you constructive criticism on your work so that you can learn. And he was very good at that. And it was like 2 years in that I remember him looking at those shots and saying, oh my God, Jenepher, I really love your work in this. And I still get chills thinking about it because I felt like, okay, I'm learning now. I'm getting somewhere with my work.
And did you, when you had that moment and he shared that with you, did you this is what I would do, so I'm just curious. Did you automatically think, what did I put on that person's face? What exactly did I do? What was the technique? Was there anything different I did? Did you do any of that or?
Yes. And sorry, getting back to your question about signature look, I didn't really answer your question was I love when makeup is, I love weird and wonderful and bizarre makeup too. That's got its place. I also love flawless, seamless makeup that really makes someone look so enhanced, but it's so flawless and seamless. And that's how I felt about those shots. Was she had blush on, she had eyeshadow on, but it just blurred off nothing. There were no trace of edges. It was
artistry.
Yeah.
Like she was the canvas. And would you say, and then tell me a little bit more about like the like trend as trends would come and go, right? Is that something that in your earlier career, would you try trends? Would you play with them? Would you adopt them? Or did you find that you typically were like, no, I'm not going to even touch?
I think I'll look at trends and acknowledge trends, but I don't ride them. I don't jump on that bandwagon. A prime example is one that you can still see around today. It's starting to fade out, is the blush that sort of is like this.
Okay, what's going on with that, by the way? I've tried it. Okay, I've tried because I'm seeing it so much. Like I'm literally seeing that some of these Instagram and TikTok videos where they're putting the blush all the way up here. Like, what is that? What is that about? Why?
Personally, I think looking back through time, I see somehow there's it's coming. People don't realize it's one of those Devil Wears Prada. What is that color that she talks about in Devil Wears Prada? You think that's
cerulean,
right? That to me, I think about kabuki makeup. When you look at geishas and that kind of thing, it's the red, right? that's to me going way back. That's I think where it transpired. But I don't think people are aware. But if you look, because everything's cyclical, right? So I think way back that's where it originated. But having said that, today that look, it doesn't suit every face. So people are wearing it for every day, but it's like, hey, I get it, it's a trend, but it's like that doesn't suit.
What is it supposed to do? Because I'm what is the intention? Is it supposed to make you look more youthful or fresh or more lifted? Like, what's the intention?
I think it's just blush blindness, to be honest.
Blush blindness. Oh my god, I love that.
Yeah, it's so common among the 20 something generation, and it's a trend. And we all know that trends, when you're that age, just jump on them. You just ride that train, right? When I was 20, I had pulled hair. I wore black skin tight spandex dresses to the club. Like,
I was definitely using like testing out blue liners, blue shadows, green line because that was coming. I remember seeing a lot of that in the Glamour Beauty Closet, like a lot of color liners. Yeah, you try all the different color liners. Oh my gosh. Yeah. What about give me another trend that like you wish died sooner?
I think it's dying, though it's still, you still see it around here, is people taking the eyebrow laminated look to the end. Like they're going and getting them laminated, and the person laminating them, which is a chemical treatment, laminating them right up. First of all, what that does is, okay, so if your brows frame your eyes nicely, and it's like, it is creative and it is art, and have fun and do whatever. Having said that, when your brows frame your eyes nicely, they complement your eyes and they complement your face. If the hair is doing this and your arch is doing this, it's directing the attention straight up. And on some women, when you go to town with the arches, it creates both either surprised and or super like Cruella de Vil brows.
Yeah. No, but it also makes you focus on like you can't look at the person as a whole. It's not like a whole look. You're looking at their brows.
Yeah, just the blush thing, right? It's like the blush takes over, and that's all. And yes, it is a trend, and that's fine. The thing is, then we stop looking at the person and listening to the person.
Yes, I totally agree with that. One more. Well, I wanted to ask you, what do you think about the donut glaze look? Like the whole how Hailey Bieber came out with that like glaze milk product. What do you think about that whole donut glaze?
Well, that takes me back to, and as I said, everything's cyclical. Mac had a product in the 2000s. Mac, it was a strobe cream, I think is what it's called. And it's exactly what you're talking about. And so it's just come full circle. And it's just that whole glaze, like donut glaze, perfect. The thing is, because it's a trend, it's done to the end. It's not, there's no subtlety about it, right? I'm guessing that the whole glaze thing is like full on glaze. And that's all.
No, it can be sticky looking or like almost over shiny. I actually eat that product, but I mix it with your foundation. And I don't have it on right now, but I mix the two together and I use like a kabuki brush and like swipe it all on. And I do really like it when it's in person, but it doesn't do as well on camera.
Because it's so high shine. Yeah, because the light really bounces off every shiny surface. Yeah. And then if a person chooses to use it and then maybe matte certain areas, then you get the lovely push pull on the face where, because some things are high shine, they come forward more and are enhanced by the light and we notice more, and others are more matte. So they are less visible. So makeup is more, it is artistry and playing, but you're also like drawing things forward and pushing them back. And When you draw things forward, you bring attention to them more so than when you push back.
Interesting. Okay. So you built this successful career as a commercial and TV makeup artist, and then you started your own makeup studio, correct? At what point did that happen? And what made you decide to do that?
So I worked freelance in Toronto I'll just explain quickly. Freelance in Toronto, so doing TV commercials, print advertising, music videos, all that kind of thing. You're freelance because that's not unionized as far as hair and makeup. The film industry, makeup artists are unionized. So that's why I differentiate between being freelance. So I moved away from Toronto and I moved to a smaller town where I knew I was going to be doing less commercial work because it wasn't happening. And my approach was to do more one-on-one lessons. And with that, I needed to accommodate the lessons because what happened was I would do a lesson and I had my kit. My kit was at the time predominantly MAC cosmetic makeup. And I'd finish the lesson and the person would go, okay, I want that. And I went, oh, I got to do something about this because
Yeah, like now,
now,
I guess
yeah,
I need to give them a product.
yeah. So that's when I started. So that's 20 years ago. I did that. And I wanted, because I am one to teach people less is more, it's not that I wanted or needed a really elaborate line. I wanted a pared down line with good quality products that weren't heavy. Yes. So yeah, that's when and how it started. And I just started very small, started with like glosses. And then I branched into concealers and just things that I was like, okay, you can't live without this. You can't live without this. That kind of thing.
And what became the bestseller?
The bestseller is still my custom blend foundation,
which I absolutely love, like love, 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 love to infinity, and your brow product. And so obvious that your expertise shines in your products. Was there any challenge in launching them at the time, or was it natural transition? My clients need these products. Now I'm offering them, boom, like yourself.
You know what? I feel like I created my own resistance because of I've talked to you at length ad nauseum about this. My personal self-doubt and my own personal beliefs, limited beliefs about myself was my biggest obstacle. I make one step forward, two back because of fear of failure, fear of being seen, fear of not being seen, doing it right, public perception, all those kinds of things. So it took me a long time to really feel like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I actually know what I'm doing. Just to let go of all that negative self-talk.
I love that. And when I get my makeup done, or if you get your skin done, or you get a facial, for example, you do typically want to get the products that person used on you because the result that you're seeing is better than what you do at home, right? So you want to use those products at home. You want the continuation. Like, how do I create this look at home? How do I keep doing this at home? It makes sense. Okay, so let's talk about, so you have a new product that you've been working on, that we've been working on now, I think, for a couple years, right? And it went from ideation all the way up through winning multiple grants to bring this product to life, which is unbelievable. When Jenn, just to give a little back behind the scenes, when Jenn was in our mastermind, it felt like every other week she was getting a new grant, like new grant money coming in. And it was incredible because it was like, oh, here's another grant. Oh, here's another grant. And so myself and all of our other founders were just always so amazed with how you're pushing forward, applying yourself, and also such a testament to the belief of what you're creating. It's, an innovative product that you're wanting to put on the market. So talk to us. I don't know how much you're willing or able to share, but where did the idea come from? Was it a pain point that you kept seeing with your clients? Like, why doesn't this exist? Or where did the idea come from?
Yeah. The idea came from the fact that I have been obsessed about eyebrows for years, as I said, always focused on people's brows all the time. I did catch myself staring at people's brows all the time. And so then doing them in an application, and I also offer that service, doing eyebrows. And something that people would say repeatedly to me, oh my God, I wish you could do my eyebrows every day. I wish you could come to my house and do my eyebrows. And I started to think, as far as what was out there were these stencils that were one piece and that you had to hold. And were you holding it in the right position? And then you had to flip it and hold it. And then use the other hand to fill in whatever way, shape, or form you would do that. And I thought, that's not very user friendly. There's so many out there, and a lot of them are pretty much the same, and they're not user friendly. How can the average person purchase this experience and it be so straightforward and so user friendly that they're like, oh my God, I want to do this every day for myself at home. I don't have to go to the salon and get them professionally done. That's where my idea came from. I wanted to keep the experience at home.
And what makes the tool, different than what's on the market already?
So the stencil itself it's one piece versus one piece and then you flip. So it's one piece, and by the law of averages, I'm launching 3 stencils, 3 different shapes. Law of averages, those 3 shapes, obviously they vary, but they're a law of average depending on people's face shape. So these 3 shapes reflect 3 different face shapes. The stencil itself is also adhesive, so it's skin safe, and it has an adhesive that gently sticks to the skin. You anchor it here, and then you gently press it on, and then your hand's free, so you're not holding anything, and then you can fill it. Like most of us, should you have a couple of millimeters asymmetry, I know I do, as you can see in the camera, there's a perforation down the center. So you can perforate it and just shift one up slightly to fill. And then you set it back on the tray. Yeah, you set it back on the tray. You just rinse with water, no soap, and it's totally reusable.
That's so cool. That's so cool. So of the 3 shapes, which one would you use on me?
The 3 shapes, the original I would use on you. There's another, my number 4 that will be coming out this year too. Either my number 1 or my number 4 I would use on you because of your face shape.
What are they, are you able to share like what those shapes look like or what makes them unique?
So again, it's law of average. It's the average brow is approximately from here to here. So from the base to the top, the average brow is around 6 to 7 millimeters in height. Okay. The average brow is also from the center point in between your 2 brows. It's approximately 10 centimeters from the core. Do you think I know this? I've measured so many eyebrows. And then again, law of averages, lengthwise, there's a measurement. The other thing too, in the past couple of years, brows used to be by design, magazines and everything. The trend was for the longest time, I shouldn't say trend, style, because it wasn't just a trend, was the brow was filled. So here's the base of the core, the brow line. So the tail was in the same line of the core. Now we know that when you fill in an eyebrow and the tail is like even a millimeter, 2 millimeter higher than the baseline of the core, it's way more flattering. It gives a slight elevation to the eye, and that's what you'll see in magazines is people that the tail will now sit slight. It's so slight, but that's all you need. One of the best lines one of my makeup instructors taught me, and it's perfect, is a millimeter on the face is a mile, because our faces are only this big. And when you make those incremental shifts, it can be quite dramatic because we're so small.
Fascinating. That's so interesting. That makes so much sense. A millimeter on your face is a mile. Yeah, that makes so much sense. And did you ever doubt yourself during in developing this product? What if no one gets it, or what if people don't know how to use it, or I don't know? Did you ever have doubts throughout the process?
Oh yeah, I think like I every single call you and I would have had would have been so much of me talking about my doubt and disbelief in myself and my idea. To be able to be working amongst people I work with, say through C2C and Mastermind, we all just kept moving forward. We just kept moving forward. And yes, little bit. And we were all at times feeling self doubt. But the fact that we shared it, talked it through, and we just kept moving forward. And now I will say to you, Aggie, now this is the best way to describe it. I don't invite self doubt to the table.
I love that.
Shut it down so fast.
Shut it down. Shut that self down. Shove it under the rug.
Out the door.
Yeah. You know what's so interesting? I think apropos of this is that I think a lot of times people think, oh, well, I have to work through my self doubt in order to do X, Y, Z. Once I work through my self doubt, they may already be aware they have self doubt, right? Which is great. That's the first step, is like awareness of self doubt. But they may feel that, oh, I have to work through my self doubt. I have to work on my mindset to get to where I want to go. And yes, that is true. And also, there's something to be said about allowing the self doubt to still be there, but choosing and that I will still move forward, even with the self. It's almost like being like, hey, like we can be in the same room together. Like, I'm not going to I may not ever be able to completely eradicate you or get you out of the room, but that doesn't mean that I can't still do what I know I want and desire and have a purpose to do while you're still hanging out.
Yes, yes. Well, yes, I totally agree. And the thing is, when you read that supposedly self doubt has to be, is linked to your ego and your primitive brain. And the whole self doubt has to do with protecting yourself because of our primitive brain. And so, really, self doubt is just trying to keep you safe.
It's trying to keep you safe. It's trying to keep you in your comfort, in where it feels comfortable.
Yes. And so, when you think about that and work through that, then it's okay. It's okay. I am safe. It's fine. I'm safe. I can move forward.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think I heard it I remember, yeah, hearing someone say recently, or maybe it was just like, it was a good reminder of there's so many different routes to get through it or with it. And at the end of the day, it's in the actions that you take that ultimately, by doing the action that is trying to make you uncomfortable, you then it then starts to shift the self doubt, right? Like a catch 22, because it's like, you don't want to, you're afraid to take the action, right? But yet in doing the action, that is when the self doubt starts to eliminate or reduce.
Yes. Yeah, totally. 100%.
So it's this catch 22, right? So at some point, you just got to take the leap, right? You got to make the step. In each little step starts to reduce that self doubt. So tricky, right? So, do you have any makeup philosophy around with age, like for women over 40, over 50, over 60, as you get older, do you have any sort of tried and true rules that you live by? Does the makeup application change, or the way you apply makeup, should it, as you get older?
Even though I am a minimalist, I do say, do you, be you. I also say that makeup is amazing and makeup can make you feel so good. So, no matter what your age, consider wearing it, and it doesn't have to be much. You can go to a professional, hello, and learn how to play up your eyes in such a subtle manner, going back to the millimeter and mile. It's not the 80s anymore. Makeup has evolved so much. So many products are so lightweight, they'll complement your skin. They're not heavy on the face. Just a slight enhancement, any age. It's all about how it makes you feel, right? It comes down to how it makes you feel. In answer to your question about past a certain age, I don't have any rules. I will say that 40, 50, 60, when you start to see your skin look drier, it's a hormonal thing, typically. So you may want to use products that are more hydrating. Also, too, we lose fat in our face. It just starts to go away. We lose collagen. We lose pigment. So ways to cheat that or fake that, a bit of makeup, lips, eyes. It doesn't have to be a lot. Our eyes tend to recede because of the fat loss, right? Our eyes recede more into our orbital bone. So knowing what colors to use to conceal and correct around the eye area will bring them forward, make them appear brighter and bigger, and things falling down. Same here. I mean, the face just starts to do that drop. Well, right? If your blush application, depending on your face shape, if your blush application is here and lifted versus here, it's going to complement more as your face drops, right? If your bronzer is placed way down here and your face is starting to drop, it's going to create the look of more of a drop. So it's learning placements to, again, do what you do, whatever. But if you want to use makeup to enhance, take a step back from the mirror and say, okay, I really liked how my eyes looked then, or I really like how my eyes look, but I'm starting to see that they look tired. How can I erase that? Or how can I enhance how much I like my eyes? Another one, just quickly, is I'm always trying to get people to curl their lashes. Reason being, another thing, over time, right? They just start to do this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
What is happening?
Your boys probably have these lashes, right?
Yeah, they go.
So not only are they long and lifted, it just does this to the eyes. So over time, lashes do this. So again, if you curl the lashes, it's exposing more of the whites of the eyes. The hair is pointing upward. And then you put some mascara on. There you go. You start looking, the eyes are bigger and more open and lifted, just like you would, like I say about your boys. It's just more youthful. It's more.
I love a lash lift. Like I have a lash lift now, which is why I don't have mascara on right now. So I haven't figured out like the whole mascara and lash lift situation. I feel like once I put on the mascara after I've had a lash lift, even if I like take it off, it like affects the lash lift. So I like, so I like, I'm afraid to use mascara or do eye product when I have a fresher lash lift rather. But maybe a story for a conversation for another time. Last question. Where is Jenn of Arch going next? What's coming up? When's the launch happening? Give us all the deets. How can people find you?
Okay, so incredibly excited. Soft launch is happening in the next couple of months. September, full on launch, the 3 eyebrow stencils with the assisted filler, we'll call it the arch filler. So I'll be launching on my website, jenefarch.com. I'll be on social. I'll be everywhere. And then shortly thereafter, I'll do the additional 2 stencils, and then Amazon is the next little ride.
So right now, people can find the products. Obviously, the Bro products are coming out in September, but right now, people can find your current products on jenefarch.com.
Jenefarch.com. Yes, and then on Instagram at Jenepher.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Jenepher. This has been so fun. I love catching up with you. I love what's coming out. I cannot wait to be the first customer.
And you will. I'll send you. You'll have to send me your new address.
Yes. But I cannot wait. I'm super excited for you. And this is all, you're so deserving of the success that.
Thank you so much. And many thanks to you, because this is all, you're the catalyst.
Hey, thank you. Well, I can't wait. So thank you everyone for listening to this episode of the Beauty and the Brand podcast. Until our next episode, if you like this episode, please make sure to leave us a review. We would so appreciate it. Go and follow Jenn as well as Jenn of Arch, and I will see you all the next one. Bye, everyone.